about innovation, inspiration. That's the stage that we're on. It's about business, and of course it's about media. And in this case, it's about community media, community radio. You're going to hear the story of a highly successful community radio station from Britain. Before that, though, I want to share some of my experience with community radio. And if you can bring up my PDF, please. My background is mostly audio media. And you'll see my name is Steve Ahern. I run a company called AMT. We publish trade publications for radio, podcasting, and the audio industry, and we also do training around the world. If you want to read our publications, just scan the QR code there. I've also written a book. It's called Making Radio and Podcasts, and it's very well used in universities and radio stations around the world. And it's allowed me to travel the world training and talking to community radio stations in so many places. I want to introduce you to just a few of them and let you know some of the things that community radio does in the world. In India, I was at the radio festival in 2020 with this lady, Moniza. She runs a community radio station in Delhi, and her radio station supports disadvantaged communities. In India, it's a very rich country if you are wealthy, but it's a very poor country if you have nothing, if you live in the provinces. And that community radio station helps the poorest of people because they have no voice. The government doesn't listen to them. They don't have any successful businesses, so they don't have any money. But they want their voice heard. And the way to hear it through Moniza's community radio station allows the most disadvantaged in that society to be heard and to be supported. And in India, community radio is very powerful in supporting those who have not much money and not much power. Community radio is different from government radio, and it's different from commercial radio. It is genuinely at the heart of each community. And when you travel the world and work with community radio stations, you see that there are many different types. I really like Archana, one of the other founders of this radio station. One of her sayings is, we have to walk down the street and face our audience every day. We must tell the truth. That's not big business. That's not a government press release. That is the truth about the people who the community radio station supports. I've been to Nepal. I've worked with the Association of Community Radio Stations there called ACORAB. In Nepal, the biggest concerns are the health of the community, spreading messages of good health and safety for people, and also anti-exploitation. Many people come to Nepal and they kidnap women and traffic them. They kidnap children and they exploit them. Community radio spreads the word of how bad that is and what people can do about it. So in the small country of Nepal, community radio plays a big role in educating people about what's wrong and who to tell and what to do about it. I've worked in Afghanistan. That's me with my friend Mujib, who runs a community radio station called Nai Media. Nai in Dari means the flute, the magic of music on the air. And so they called their radio station Nai for the beautiful power of music to float through the air and enrich the community. In Afghanistan, their radio station played a big role in reporting on what was happening and informing the community about what was happening. A lot of things have changed in Afghanistan now, but some of those radio stations are still able to fulfill their mission, to inform the community about what's happening. I've worked in South Sudan with that group of great people there who run iRadio. And it's the eye on the community, watching what's happening and reporting back to the community if something is happening. You probably know that in South Sudan, it's a very rough place, and there's a lot of hate speech. People from one tribe say very bad things about the next tribe and try and encourage people to kill the other tribe. So one of the big missions of this community radio station is combating hate speech, because that's one of the biggest problems in communities in South Sudan. And where I'm from, in Australia, community radio has another role. In Australia, we're pretty well off. Even the most poor people have some government support. So some of the things of other community radio stations in the rest of the world, we don't need to worry so much about. But one of the things in Australia is that people feel disconnected from each other. They don't feel like there's any community anymore. They don't know who their neighbours are. They're not so friendly as they used to be. So one of the big missions of Australian community radio is to support community groups and help form friendships within each community. The community could be a town, or it could be a community of people who like the same things. They're interested in the same things. And those communities come together through community radio, maybe music, maybe news, maybe information. And that leads me to the community radio station in Britain, who we're going to hear all about. From what I've already heard by talking to my friend Carlos and his team, is that they build community in their community through music. They give a voice and power to musicians who may not be heard on other radio stations. It's an inspiring story, and I would like to invite my friends from Flex FM up to join us and tell their inspiring story. Please welcome them. Apparently we have to sit in front of our picture, so you can put the picture up. Yep, that's it. Wayne, Terence, Keisha, Karan, Carl. Okay. Oh, they've got your right photo, Carl. Yeah, excellent. All right. Carl is the founder of this community radio station, and I want him to tell us how it all started. Carlos, tell me about how you grew Flex FM from an illegal radio station to a licensed community radio station, and how it opened the doors to your other commercial successes.
Thank you, Stephen. Am I on? Yep. Thank you, Stephen. As he said, I'm Carlos. I'm the founder, the owner of Flex FM Media Group now. So it's grown from pirate radio, which is illegal radio, And the reason why we done illegal radio back then was we didn't have a voice. No one who was making music. It didn't get played on the mainstream stages at the time. So we had to get a way to get our voices seen and heard. And we made so much noise in the scene, and we was just growing and growing and growing. The government then turned it on its head and actually gave us licenses. And so then we joined in with the government and started a community radio station, Flex FM. And from strength to strength, check one. And we grew from strength to strength, and we created Flex FM Media Group, which then we've partnered up with Red Bull, Pioneer, and these are big brands in the UK for us. They're around the world. And then pushed me into finding this excellent team, which helped me grow all my businesses. We now own restaurants, bars, nightclubs, numerous nightclubs. We've even got a UFC gym, so we partnered up with UFC for America, and we've got a gym. And the reason why we've gone in with them is we're doing class-based gym, so we have live DJs. So everything we do is all around music. Even in the restaurants, we play music, and yeah, and it's been a great journey, and it's helped our grow.
With all you've described about your businesses, are you making enough money now to pay people?
Well, we never got help with funding ever. It's always been ourselves and the community funding this project and fund. So even with the jobs I've got, so my nightclubs, my bars, my restaurants, it's people from the community. I've created hundreds of jobs now, which I've gave back. So everyone local, or people who's been on the radio, or we announce it on the radio, we're looking for staff, we're looking for like waitresses or DJs or even gym instructors now. So no matter what, we give back, but we've never been funded. And the answer to your question, yes, we're good.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Kesha, let me come to you. Keisha, I understand you're not only the voice of Flex FM, but you've also become the voice of many international brands. Tell me about them.
So yeah, my journey started about 9 years ago now with Flex FM, and I actually came to the station with a voiceover reel, and it was very underdeveloped at the time. It's progressed a lot since then, but I came to the station with I suppose, thinking that I was going to do some jingles, and that was it. But actually what's happened is I've arrived at the station with a very premature voiceover reel, which then developed into having my own show on Flex FM, which is great, which has led me to DJ in many places now, because having that platform has allowed me to DJ. These guys have taught me how to DJ, which has been amazing. But I'm digressing slightly. But the reel has developed since then because I had a platform on Flex to actually, I had a voice, which meant that I was able to practice more and more and more, and actually send out my work to various other production people, being it ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, and with that, I then got lots of voiceover work, which has led to me voicing commercials such as Dove. I've worked with, or have been the voice for over 2 years for F1, Formula 1. I've also voiced for various other smaller companies. I've worked for Adidas. The list is endless, but I suppose from being on Flex FM from 9 years ago to where I am now, mainly I've just had a platform to develop my voice and my skill set.
So Flex FM's made you famous?
Basically, yeah. If you could say that for sure. It's definitely put me on the right footpath to this wonderful journey that I'm on now.
In your profile now, do you connect with other people who maybe want to follow your path and come through the same station or something similar?
Yeah, for sure. I think look, we get people from all walks of life. There's lots of DJs that always ask how, DJs and producers who ask how to get into the world of voiceovers. And it's not easy, but I would say that it's not hard either. You would need to make a reel, firstly, which can be done anywhere. It can be done in our studio, which is where I've done mine. And then you would just need to farm out that reel to various different production companies. That's the start. And then once you've done that, it's just a case of constant communication and reaching out to people and sharing your contacts as well. That's one of the main things. Making sure that you're not holding your cards too close to your chest. I share all of my contacts, so I'm quite happy to do that. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Nicely done. That's a great, inspiring story. Shinobi, so you're the technical genius of this radio station, Flex FM. Tell us about how the technology's changed from when it started all those years ago to now.
Lot has from when it started, a lot has changed because it's moved more from the analog to the digital. So it's been fun. Kind of learning the new stuff as you go along. So originally, when we started doing radio station in the pirate days, we'd climb up a block and plug in a transmitter that we bought from someone who built in his bedroom, and we used to link to another block with infrared boxes, which we point at a different spot in London where our actual main studio was, and try and link it. Where now, as we've moved up, we kind of link via a Wi-Fi link, and our transmitter's digital and has been made by a professional company. So it is fun from the technical aspect of learning all the new stuff as it moves along.
In fact, that transmitter at the moment, your company owns a whole multiplex. So
yes.
In this stage earlier today, I was listening to a lady from World DAB, her name's Jacqueline, and she explained the difference between analog radio, AM and FM, and digital. And digital radio can, of course, broadcast digital signals, but it can broadcast more than one station on the same transmitter. So how many stations can the multiplex that you now own broadcast?
I believe it's 20, is it 20? 28.
Yeah.
28 we can do.
And so from a small station with one transmitter, you've now got a digital transmitter, and you can help others broadcast as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you look after all the technology for those other stations?
Some of it. Not all of it, but some of it. Because what happens when you've got a multiplex, there's other people who own the same multiplex on different blocks. And so what you kind of do is you share signals with each of them to make the transmission reach everywhere. If that makes sense. What
about streaming? Is the station streaming? Could we open our phones and listen to the stream now?
www.flexfm.co.uk, and they got a tab called Listen Live. You hit the tab and it goes live. I think we were one of the first stations when we was a pirate to stream, weren't we? Yeah, we was one of the first stations to stream on dial-up ever in the UK and around the world. So back when internet streaming wasn't a thing, we were streaming. And we also had a chat room with a chat bot. It was all old school on Windows X. It was before XP. It was on like Windows 95 or something like that. But yeah,
It's a big difference from those dial-up sounds of
yeah, definitely.
to now digital radio, high-quality digital radio.
Yes.
You've done a great job on the technology. Nolsey, you started once a week late-night show on Flex FM, and you currently do the breakfast show 5 days a week. Tell us about your journey with Flex.
My journey was very strange. It was during lockdown. I saw the advert for presenters, and I've been a DJ for a long time, and obviously radio was a big part of lockdown for me, listening. And so I sent in my demo, and they invited me to an interview, and I got a late night show, which was amazing, as I used to listen to Flex when I was a kid. And then I found when I got there, it wasn't like you were given a show. You were welcomed into a family, and they straight away took an interest in myself, like what I wanted to do, and you always asked and where you wanted to go with your career. And the most important thing for me was they didn't focus on my strengths, more of my weakness to improve that. And then slowly I become better, obviously working alongside presenters and DJs alongside myself and the family. And as I grew, so did my confidence, and then I got offered, remarkably, the station's best show, if you like, the breakfast show, which is something so new to me, presenting and having to think of your shows and plan them and program. Thank you. Yeah, and, oh, there you go. That's loud. So yeah, I got offered the breakfast show, and that is a complete different way I've never done before, programming and song selection, and it really made me improve not only as a presenter but as an all-round person in a way, help grow, and that's what Flex become. It become a family which helped me as a person as well as a career, and I'm now part of a magnificent team.
And of course, the breakfast show, as I'm sure those of you who work in radio know, that's the top of a station. Like, you've been promoted right to the top that you can do as an announcer. Yeah,
I mean, you get some amazing stuff. Like in the mornings, some of the messages of people when they feel great today thanks to you, or you can change a person's day. And that is such a good feeling. That is so nice.
So you told us about how it helped your confidence and that you've changed as a person. Tell me more about those changes. What inside you has changed because of your involvement with this station?
Just the way I feel I can achieve things. Where before you maybe thought there was obstacles in front, now with the team around me, there is an obstacle, but we can overcome it. We can try and fix it if it's broken. You know, nothing's impossible. We believe we can achieve, and that's what we do. We do achieve as a team. And from Carlos to myself to everybody in the team, there's no levels. Everybody's the same, and we all put in the same work, and we all reap the same rewards.
It sounds like all of you have built a very successful problem-solving way of working together.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And you're not afraid to go to anybody and ask for help, if you like. It's a family.
Yeah, nice. Solly, let me come to you. You handle all the international operations for Flex FM. From the way you all started broadcasting to quite a lot of massive projects which you're all involved in now, did you always see Flex going international?
There I am. I'd say from me personally, I did, because Flex has been going since 92, okay? I joined in 2009, and as Shinobi was saying, we were one of the first stations to be broadcasting online around the world. So when I joined in 2009, as far back as that was, when I joined the station, it was already broadcasting online. So from when I joined the station and I was receiving messages during my show from 4 corners of the world. So from then you're thinking, well, I'm already hitting these markets, so eventually we are going to go out there. They're already receiving our broadcast, so eventually they're going to receive us as well. So I think in the back of my mind, whether I thought we would do it or whether it was wishful thinking or just hoping, but it was always, I think, in everyone's mind that we weren't just going to contain ourselves in the area we were in or just broadcast to the area we were in. And bearing in mind, when I'm talking at this stage, we were still an illegal station. So fast forward to 2018 when we, or 16, sorry, when we, started broadcasting legally. It was always on the cards, and at that point, everyone, you know, as Nosy was just saying, everyone works together, everyone's a team. So at that point, the discussions amongst the team were, well, where are we going next? And recognizing that certain members of the team had connections in other parts of the world, or and could take us into those markets, or could open a door or make a phone call to see something happen.
Is there a need for the music you play and the philosophy you have in other parts of the world? Why is it not just satisfied by stations right there in those countries?
I think because predominantly when you hear music in other markets, whether it be UK artists in the Middle East or in Asia or in America or vice versa, predominantly those artists are signed by major labels and they have big financial backing behind them. But our ethos has always been to get the unheard heard. And especially when we were coming up, there was a big focus on the underground side of dance music or the unsigned. And by us keeping with our ethos and keeping with the energy we've always had, we're still able to put those unheard artists, or the ones that really don't get the financial backing or don't have the support of the major players, we can put them in another country. We can get their songs heard worldwide. And similarly, when we then travel to those countries, whether it be to perform as DJs or whether it be to do live broadcasts from other countries like we have done, we can take those artists' music with us, sometimes take those artists with us. So I think the bonus and the need for it is that, for example, if you were to choose Australia, your homeland, there's a UK unsigned artist that isn't getting their music played in Australia because the main players in Australia don't know about them. We are that avenue, we're that gateway for them to be heard and to be seen.
I heard you talk earlier about the family group, and in community radio, some people come and stay, like you've done, but other people just come in for a while, they have something inside themselves they want to achieve, and then they'll move on to something else. You described it like a train.
That's it, that's the way we see it. We say it like a train because when you board a train, there are multiple stops before the destination you're going to. Maybe you're riding the whole journey on the train till its final stop. Maybe you're getting off at the next stop. We are that train that is there for people to jump on board and to be supported by our family and to be part of our internal community, broadcasting to the worldwide community until it's time for them to get off our train. Some of us will be there until the end. Some of us will be here for a short period of time and will utilize the opportunities we can give them and utilize the facilities that we can provide them to further their own careers and their own progression, and then they reach their stop and they say, right, our time here is done, but they're always part of the family. They can always jump back on the train whenever, but they've reached their stop at that moment, and at that point they're getting off to explore the area they've got to.
Keisha, you've been successful, as you told us, in developing your profile. Do you see yourself getting off the train of Flex FM at some time and maybe getting back on later?
Ooh, I can't answer that question here. No.
Not in public.
I can answer that question. I think you will always get on and off. I haven't got off yet. You'll always take a break. I think that's healthy. I think that's the beauty of having a community station, that you can dip in and out. It's not regimented. Like you said, there's times in your life when you really feel like you need this in your life, and that might last a month, that might last a year, that might last 10 years. But the beauty is being able to, not to use Solly's analogy again, but to jump back on and off the train. So for the time being, I'm very happy where I am. But
that's what they all say until they get offered $1 million.
Well, no, exactly, exactly.
I hope you do. So if that happened, if you got some offer that made you want to jump off the train for a while, and there was another person like you just waiting, they've been hanging around, they've been training up, they want your shift, what advice would you give to them to become successful like you?
Well, I mean, I think if there is someone there that can replace you and that you can see potential in, which happens a lot, I think it's really healthy to pass it down. There's space for everyone in this industry, and there's definitely space for everybody within Flex. And I think your time will always come. I just think that if anyone coming to me now that said, you know, what should I do? I'd probably say, come to the radio station, or if you can't come to the radio station, listen to radio. Think about what message you want to, you know, get out there or put out there. I know for me it was very much about the music. I saw a bit of a gap within the, I suppose, the genre of music within Flex when I joined, and I knew that I had a catalogue of music that wasn't being played, so that was my forte. But yeah, I suppose look at what you really want to do on radio, how you want to put your voice across, and really work at that. And we're a family, and there's always an in. The doors are always open. They're never closed.
Nice. Carlos, you talked a bit before about the businesses. You've got a restaurant, it becomes a bar at night with music, you support musicians. It seems to me like from the radio station, you've built a whole big ecosystem in that part of London that supports musicians. So just tell me a bit more about how you've done that. What happens on a Friday night at your bar, and what's it like?
So we've created a hub in South London, which is during the days we've got a bistro, so you can come, you can bring your friends, you can come and say hi to the presenters. They're live. We're live all the time. And then of an evening, we do salsa classes there for the local communities. We literally change it into anything what can help anyone, like anything, what kind of quiz nights or anything. And then of a Friday and Saturday night, it turns into a bar, nightclub, where the people can bring their own promotions. So, like I say, it's just giving back to the community and giving them a chance to create a business themselves.
Do you charge for that to the musicians?
No.
So it's part of your
We do
commitment.
DJ classes. So there's no prouder moment for me as being the founder and the CEO of seeing someone grow from the start, like Keisha, not even knowing how to DJ, and now she goes and does bookings in Selfridges, Harrods, all these kind of stuff, and also doing voiceovers from not even being able to do anything, and then next minute she's actually earning a living from it. For me, that's the reward.
Yeah.
That's the reward there. Like, I'm obviously gaining from companies and the doors being open, and as Solly said, finding out what other people are into, what connections they got, how can I go, like, we've even got a film production company, which then we use people's music in the back of the films and stuff like that. So it always does a full circle for me, straight back to the beginning, where someone started, and let's push them forward and create and make them successful in their own right.
And you've talked about that for your presenters. What about the musicians? Think of a musician who started with nothing and is now well known. Tell that story.
We've had many come through. Like Sully said, it's the train. They get on and off where they get. We've got artists what's been on our station from pirate days, and now they're worth tens of millions, and they're nationally known, world known, and they've gone through our hands. Same with DJing. We've taught DJs what are now charging 10,000 an hour and stuff like that.
It's a huge success story, and you've heard it right from the people who've made it a success. Flex FM, if you're not familiar with it, you are now. Look them up, listen to them on the stream, on the World Wide Web. And think about the model that they've created to help their community. Maybe you've learnt something that you can take back to help your community, your media in some way. So I hope that it's been a successful sharing of this amazing story. Please thank the team from Flex FM for sharing their knowledge. Thank you very much. Good night.